Building a car requires so much time, effort, and passion put into a machine that burns fuel and creates beautiful exhaust noises. Being a car enthusiast is a great hobby. It's one of the most rewarding, exciting, extensive, and most of all, expensive. Most of the builds you see on social media, YouTube, or even car meets, they can cost up to 3 times the initial asking price of the car. Sometimes you might even ask yourself, how do people pay for these things? I want to have a build like this. And the answer to that question might not be so good to hear. A lot of these people are in great debt that it's going to cost them years of eating top ramen to finish paying off. Okay, so I'm going to interrupt right now to tell you that I'm not a finance guru. I can't really give you financial advice because 1, I'm not an expert, and 2, I'm still broke. I know you might be asking yourself, why am I watching this video about a guy explaining why car builds are not being done responsibly when he doesn't even have a crazy build? One thing I do have experience in is being broke. And I've learned so much by analyzing my actions, the actions of people around me, and the actions in the community. So I'm gonna tell you what I know. And the way I will do this is by explaining the wrong reasons why people build cars. Let's say there's a young enthusiast who grew up loving cars, played a bunch of racing games, and now he's ready to buy his first car. And of course, his first car has to be a cool car that was most likely in the game, and he's looking for something that has huge aftermarket support. Just think of all the cars that were in the game. Think of the car that you want for yourself to be driving every single day. Did you think of a car? Now let me crush your dreams by telling you that that is not the first car you want to buy. Most of these cars are overpriced, they have an insane drift tax. A lot of these cars are very unreliable and you're going to be breaking down on your way to work. You're going to have to call out, which means you're going to end up losing money and now you have to repair the car. And sure, this can be a fun learning experience, but when you're already used up all of your savings to buy this car to begin with, and now you got to find ways to make money to fix this car, it's actually going to be very stressful. And let's say you do find something cool, you have spare money to modify it, or you're going to be buying parts from eBay. It might not be the best quality, or it can even make the car perform worse. So all of this means you're gonna have to work longer hours to make up all the money to support this hobby you want to get into. So if you want to start modifying your first car, know exactly how much money you're making every single month, calculate your expenses, and on the remaining money, create a special savings for the car parts you want. And we can call this your car allowance. You won't feel guilty about spending this money because it's money you set aside specifically to be able to use it for that purpose. It's gonna keep you from spending more than you make every month. That sounds pretty great, right? An even better idea is on top of that to also create a separate savings for emergency repairs. If you have your car allowance to modify your car and then you also have an emergency fund, you're gonna be set. That's what a smart car enthusiast will do. There's another type of enthusiast. This enthusiast has had a car for a while and he picked the right car that was reliable, which allowed him to save enough money to now start considering modifying the car. This person goes to the local car meets and he says, damn, this car is so clean. I want to have a build like this. Then goes home and buys a truckload of parts. And that sounds like a dream and all, but guess what? At checkout, he uses his credit card. What's the total for all these parts he just bought, you might be asking yourself? $4,999. His credit card limit is $5,000. He's way above the 10% utilization rate that is recommended. He only makes $3,000 a month. And to make it even worse, his credit card APR is like 34%. GG. Once the shop installs all of his parts, the car's looking super clean. So guess what? He goes to the local car meet. And what happens at this car meet? Another enthusiast sees this car and says to himself, this build is so clean. I want to have a build like this. Not knowing this guy is in deep shit. This car is so excited going to all these car meets that he forgets to pay his balance at the end of the month. And guess what happens? Can you take a guess what happens? Next time he logs in and checks his credit card, the balance on the credit card is a whopping $6,498. Now it's even gonna take him even longer to pay this credit card off. And even worse, he's gonna accumulate more interest. This is just an endless cycle of spending your paychecks before you get them. A smart enthusiast knows to pay their credit card at full before the end of the month. There's another type of enthusiast. They love being on social media. They love watching YouTube videos. Let's call them a content gobbler. This content gobbler has a really clean build already, and even better, it's fully paid off. As this gobbler is going through social media, trying to find the next car meet, they come upon a car that's very similar to theirs, only it's a bit different. They are looking at a cleaner version of their car that could even be considered a SEMA build. This build is the equivalent of an Instathotty. only the car version. The content gobbler scrolls through all the posts and the owner provides a very detailed part list, and to make it even better, he provides the link for the content gobbler to go and purchase all of those parts. What a great deal and so convenient. The content gobbler uses his car allowance and buys all the possible top shelf parts, but he's not just looking for a clean build, he's looking for something else. He wants the clout that comes with having a perfect build. Once he has all of his mods installed in his car, he goes to the local car meet, but no one's looking at him. Everybody's so busy looking at the brand new Corvette C8 that just pulled up to the meet. This enthusiast is so pissed, he's feeling disappointed, so he just hops into his clean ass build and drives home. Now, he definitely feels like his car is not good enough. Now let's talk about the enthusiast that has the C8 Corvette. This is a more mature enthusiast. They're not planning on modifying the hell out of their car. They just wanted to buy a machine that was refined and had raw performance on its own. They want to steal the spotlight every time they go to a car meet, and they're willing to pay top dollar to achieve this. But there's one little dirty secret. They won't be done paying this car for the next 30 years. They're not going to tell anybody. In fact, to assert their dominance, they're going to challenge everybody in the car meet to a race to see who they can reel in. After the car meet, they hop on the freeway and they start racing. This enthusiast is pushing gears and they're banging red lines for races back to back. But guess what? The car had a little dirty secret on its own. It has a very common manufacturer defect that nobody knew about, and the car tragically blows up. The dealer takes a look at this car and notices how badly it's been abused. They declined the warranty. So now the owner has to pay out of pocket to fix the repairs on this brand new car, and they were already in debt to begin with. And all of this happened because they bought a car they couldn't afford just to impress the people that they don't even know them. From now on, every time they want to go to a Cars and Coffee, they're going to be taking the bus. Or even worse, they might have to buy a Scion TC. So moral of the story, a smart enthusiast knows not to buy a car they can't afford to buy it twice if they're planning on beating the crap out of it. And this may be controversial to hear, and that is because the average American is very comfortable living in debt. And don't get me wrong, it's not always bad to buy cars on a loan, and that is if you know they're going to be reliable. Consider buying something that's not going to take you a long ass time to pay off, ideally something that's half your annual income. Now let me give you a bonus smart enthusiast move. If you want to accelerate the time it will take to finish your build, start thinking of new ways to fund your project. Keep your paycheck for your day-to-day expenses, because you never know what emergencies can even happen in your daily life. Not everything is about cars, even though it may seem like that at this point in your life. Don't let being a car guy be your only personality trait. That's something you had to hear today. So anyways, find extra ways to increase your car allowance. You can sell some of the car parts you have laying around that you're never going to use. You're not going to need them. If you deprive yourself from the ability to spend your money reckless, your mind is definitely going to get creative to find ways to fund this itch that you have to modify your car. Another pro tip, do not spend all of your free time looking at parts you want to buy. That is literally window shopping.
Man, you's a window shopper in the dealership, trying to get a test drive.
And the reason why this can be so bad is because the more time you spend looking at parts to buy, the worse you're going to feel about yourself for not having these items. You're going to start feeling the pressure, and you're probably going to buy out of impulse. It's easy to fall into this rabbit hole of putting together the perfect build and have all the 60 open tabs with the parts you want for your build. Trust me, I know this from experience, but I'm working day to day to break this habit. You want to know another fact? Companies collect your data. They know you're desperate. They know you want to buy these parts, so guess what they're going to do? Magically, out of nowhere, they're going to have a magic sale that's going to give you 10% discount. You're going to be even more incentivized to go and buy these parts. This magic discount code is not a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're actually going to spend money that you weren't planning on spending when you woke up that morning. So did you really save money? Not really. Alright, let's wrap this up. I want to tell you that materials expired and your build can be taken away from you at any point in your life. Whether it's through traffic accidents, cops taking your car, fires, floods. Your car may be so clean that it looks like soap, but don't drop it, especially when life is standing right behind you, looking at you like this. Moral of the story, if you're watching this video, you have two choices. You can decide to be the smart enthusiast, or you can decide to be that enthusiast that lives life at redline. This was just my observation, and I might be completely wrong, but I know for a fact once I changed my behavior and I started acting like the smart enthusiast, I started sleeping better at night. But the best advice I can give you is that you share this video so I can afford to buy parts for my car. And also go and watch one of these playlists. Alright, fuck it. Good enough.